Thank you, both of you, for having brought me to this very accomplished, enlightened forum where people have been listening and studying Vedanta from various teachers all across for past several years. So to me, this particular forum is I do not have to have any apprehension as whether the topic that I'm going to discuss would be appreciated or not, because to me you're all Prabuddha Shrota, and therefore I have chosen this particular topic, which is an independent chapter from the text called Jivanmukti Viveka, authored by none other than Vidyaranya Swami. So, since the introduction is given, the text that we are going to follow is being declared. Now, let us dwell into this text with a little prayer of invocation, which we always do. Om Om Yo Brahmanam Vidadhati Purvam Yo Vai Vedanscha Prahinoti Tasmai Tam Hadevamatma Buddhi Prakasham Mumukshurvai Sharanamaham Prapadye. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Vamsharishibhyo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhya Sarvopaplavarahitah Prajnanaghanah Pratyagartho Brahmaivahamasmi Brahmaivahamasmi. Vedantartha Vibhasakaya Gurave Shantaya Sanyasine Nanavadi Nagendra Sangapavaye Yogindra Vandyaya Cha Mohadvanta Divakaraya Bhagavat Padabhidham Bibhrate Tasmai Bhashyakrute Namostu Satatam Purnaya Bodhatmane. Hopefully the audio is clear to all of you.
Yes, Swamiji.
Thank you. Now I'm okay. The five purposes of Jivan Mukti. This is the topic. I don't need it. I don't need it. It's okay. The five purposes of Jivan Mukti. Even before we can go into what are those five purposes and elaborate upon the idea of what those purposes are, we first need to define, or we first need to have a definition of what exactly is meant by word Jivan Mukti. We all understand by the word Mukti means liberation, freedom. The word freedom, without adding as what is the freedom sought from, would become would not become meaningful, or would remain meaningless unless and until it is defined freedom from what. So therefore, all the darshankaras, whether they belong to the Astika, six Astika schools or Nastika schools, all of them have a common agreement on one definition of the word mukti, and that is, so we all want freedom from dukkham. Now, freedom from dukkham is sought, from misery, from suffering, is sought by all, whether it is a human being or an insignificant mosquito. Everybody seeks freedom from suffering. But that freedom from suffering does not become, or is not the object of the word mukti, because that demands, the word mukti by itself demands It is annihilation of the suffering, and it is not only just annihilation, it is the absolute annihilation of the suffering of any kind. Dukkasya atyantika nivritti is meant by the word mukti. But now Vedanta, the Upanishads, have come to understand this freedom as freedom from ignorance. And therefore, the word mukti for in by the Upanishads come is defined as ajnana nivritti, freedom from ignorance. What do you mean by that? The simple thing is that the karanam for dukkham is analyzed as ignorance. Generally, we have to say that we attribute dukkham. Either you are going to say, I'm unhappy because of my husband, because of my wife, because of the existing conditions, or because of some sort of a disease, or something of the other. So, even after those reasons are removed, there are other reasons which now are replaced, which become the reason for your dukkham. And therefore, that what is actually the cause of dukkham is not at all treated, removed, and therefore the dukkham keeps on coming through various other sources. So the Upanishad says what is the cause of dukkham is not knowing that this Atma is Brahman. This ignorance is the cause of dukkham. All right. Now you have known that Atma is Brahman. And that means now everything that could be brought under the heading, under the umbrella as dukkham, which means the assuming this body or taking the birth itself, sharira parigraha is the cause of dukkham. Because right from the time that one arrives in the garbha, in the womb, till one reaches the tomb, dukkham follows you like a shadow. And therefore it is said, Garbha Dukkham, Janma Dukkham, Sanyoga Dukkham, Viyoga Dukkham, Roga Dukkham, Jara Dukkham, Mrityu Dukkham. So Dukkham is all the time following. Whether you are born as a human being or a devata or an animal or an insect, does not matter. It seems to be following you like a hound, like a dog. Doesn't seem to leave you. And so, as long as you are going to be born, you are going to discover yourself as a limited person. Till then, dukkham is going to be there. And therefore, freedom from the cycle of birth and death then is really going to be your freedom. And this freedom is actually freedom from ignorance. Okay. So now we understand the word mukti. We need to understand the word Jivanmukti. So Vidyaranya Swami, in the beginning of that text, defines this Jivan Mukti as, he says, Purushasya, Jivataha Purushasya, Kartritva, Bhautritva, Sukhadukhadi, Lakshanam, Dharmaha, Klesharupatva, Bandho Bhavati, Tasya Nivaranam, Jivan Mukti. He says, Jivataha Purushasya. We are not talking about something that may happen to you, liberation which is going to happen to you posthumously after the prarabdha of this body finishes. That is videha kaivalyam. That's another topic. But we are interested in knowing whether there is freedom from dukkham as long as this body also exists. And therefore, jivataha purushasya, a person who is living, how would he be free? And then for him, what is it that he discovers as dukkham, as bandhanam, as bondage? And therefore it is said, Purushasya, Jivataha Purushasya, a person who is living. Purusha means not male and female. Purusha means a person, a conscious being. So for this person, Jivataha Purushasya, Kartritva, Bhoktritva, the doership, the experiencership, or the ego that I am so and so. The idea, the identity that you carry is actually dukkham. Huh? That identity which you carry is dukkham. Kartritvam, bhoktritvam is the bandhanam. Why is it called as bandhanam? Klesharupatvat. Because it is indeed an affliction. And therefore, freedom from this, where a person, now this I is free from kartrutvam and bhoktritvam, is called as Jivan Mukti. Okay. I am there, but I am different and I am not touched by kartrutvam and bhoktritvam. This is what is seen by me. And when you see, because presently I am karta, I am bhokta, so you find that I is synonymously kept as I am the doer, I am the experiencer. That is why you say, I am doing something right, I am doing something wrong. And as a result of doing something right and wrong, I enjoy or I suffer. So I am karta, I am a bhokta. Bhokta means experiencer. So what is the meaning of this word I for you at this moment? Is that I am the experiencer. I am the doer because I discover in myself the locus of action. So now freedom from this kartrutvam and bhoktritvam is called as Jivanmukti. How does that happen? Through knowledge. Because this idea of kartrutvam and bhoktritvam is what? A misunderstanding. I am. But to say that I am karta and bhokta is what? Is an error. An error cannot be without ignorance. And then because you do not know, the error can take place. So the prerequisite for an error to take place is ignorance. And what kind of ignorance is this? Because one doesn't know that this I is Brahman. That is it. Brahman means that what is complete, Purna Vastu, Ananta Vastu. And therefore, now, with the dawn of knowledge, ignorance comes to the end. And when the ignorance comes to an end, the product of ignorance also comes to an end. So now, where the ignorance has finished, but there is some prarabdha because of which the person will continue to live as long as the body is supposed to live. Because every body has got its own stipulated period. It comes with its own stipulated period as how long this body is going to live. Nobody comes over here, even Hiranyakashipu could not make it forever. So now this is going to end. But then the knowledge has taken place, ignorance has ended, and the body will continue. What is the case of such a person? And there it is said that this is the state of Jivan Mukti. All right. So now in Sankshepa, in Briviti, we have a definition, a working definition, because this definition also needs a serious refinement. Okay? Definition also needs a serious refinement. परिष्कार होना चाहिए इसका, इन लक्षणों का. लक्षणों के परीक्षा के बिना वस्तु सिद्ध ही नहीं हो सकती. परीक्षा भी होती है कि नहीं? So then this definition we have, which is a working definition, but we can still go ahead with it. Now we understand there is Jivanmukti. Question is, even if a person attains Jivanmukti, what purpose is fulfilled? Ho gaya. Now you have attained liberation. So now what happens? This is what you people are going to ask. Now somebody is enlightened. Knowledge has taken place. He is liberated. Then what happens? Kya hoga? And therefore, in order to answer this question, a fourth chapter in this Jivanmukti Viveka, this wonderful text by Vidyaranya Swami, he says that there are 5 purposes, not only one. You asked, you demanded only one. You demanded only one. But we are going to enumerate 5 purposes. There are Pancha Prayojanani. 5 purposes are there of this. Okay. What are those? So to enumerate them, the first one is Jnana Raksha, protection of knowledge. We will see one by one. And then you will understand that it is not as simple as one would have thought. It is indeed very profound. So the first purpose is Jnana Raksha. The second purpose is called as Tapaha, Tapasiddhi, accomplishment of Tapa. Accomplishment of Tapa, Tapasiddhi. The fourth one is Visamvada Bhava, absence of opposition. Absence, freedom from conflict. You see, just that much is also good enough for you to be inspired to walk this path. Because if you are not in conflict with the world outside, you have inner conflict. संघर्ष हमेशा ही चलता रहता है, या तो बाहर या तो भीतर. And therefore a person is all the time divided. So over here, Visamvada Bhava, absence of conflict, is the third one. Fourth one is Dukkha Nasha. Nasha means annihilation, destruction of dukkham, of suffering, end of suffering. And then the fifth one is Nirankusha Trupti, Sukhavirbhava. Sukhavirbhava means the expression of sukha, of joy. Joy is already there. It is not to be borrowed. It is not to be brought from anywhere. Avirbhavaha. It is simply an expression. Now it is only waiting to be expressed. Just as you have gold in a mine, but it is only waiting to be discovered, brought out. Like that. Now this is Sukha Virbhava. So these are the 5 purposes of Jivanmukti. Once again, Jnana Raksha, Tapasiddhi, Visamvada Bhavaha, Dukkhanasha, and Sukhavirbhava. So we are going to see one after another in next 1 hour that we have. So the question is, as once the knowledge has taken place, do you really require to protect the knowledge? Because Jnana Raksha is the first purpose. And the simple example is, once the Ghata Jnanam has taken place, let us say, there is a pot in front of you, a clay pot. When your eyes meet the object, what happens? A cognition takes place. Ghatakara vritti arises. A cognition takes place. And this cognition is in the form of the pot. Correct? So the cognition also has to be corresponding to the object outside. There is a dog, and then you see a cat. Will you call it knowledge? There is a rope, and then you see a snake. Is it knowledge? So just a cognition is not called as knowledge. It has to correspond to the object outside. Correct? So now there is ghata, there is a pot, and the cognition has risen, which is in the form of pot. So ghata jnanam has taken place. As a result of this ghata jnanam that takes place, what was your previous experience? I do not know what this object is. And after the cognition takes place, what is your experience? I know. Aham ghatam janami. I know the pot. I know the pot. So the simple thing that takes place is that through the ghata jnanam, ghata ajnanam is destroyed. Knowledge has taken place. So you no longer can say that ghatam aham na janami. What will be your expression now? Aham ghatam janami. I know. I know. Once it has taken place, do you need to protect this knowledge? Do you need to protect this knowledge? Oh, otherwise this Ghatashjnanam will go away, you know. No. Or you have to keep on repeating Ghatashjnanam, Ghatashjnanam. This is a Ghata, this is I am Ghata, I am Ghata. Do you have to repeat it? And that is the difference. If you have to repeat something, that means it is not understood. If you understand, then you don't need to repeat it. Once done, it is done. Sakrat. Just once. The knowledge taking place once is enough. It will take care of the ignorance by itself. So now, similarly, just as the Ghatashjnanam does not require repetition or any protection, Brahmajnanam also should not require any repetition or any protection. You have known that this Atma, Aham Brahma iti. I have known, it is knowing. If it is knowing, why should it require? Correct? Why should there be any requirement? Because knowledge is knowledge after all. Whether it is Ghatashjnanam or whether it is Brahmajnanam, as knowledge, the rules will be same. So you in the beginning have said there is Jnana Raksha, which is the purpose attained by Jivanmukti. But sir, you are talking about something which is totally redundant, and then you, as if you are creating a big halla about it. खामों का हल्ला कर रहे हो? ज्ञान रक्षा कौन सी ज्ञान रक्षा होती है? Okay, this is, mind you, this is a Purva Paksha. This is Purva Paksha. And in answer to this, now Vidyaranya Swami begins, is Raksha Apekshyate. It is required. In case of Brahmajnanam, you require there's something called as protecting the knowledge. You know, I will give you an example, not the mantra, but from that mantra only, from the Veda says, even after the knowledge takes place, gives you two examples of protecting it. One is, like the flame of a lamp should not be left in strong wind. That is the reason why you have the glass case in a lantern. So the lantern will continue to cast light and dispel the darkness. It will do that job. The darkness will be removed by the lantern. But if the flame is extinguished, it will not. So that's why you have to protect. So just as a lamp is protected from strong wind, you should take care of this knowledge, Upanishad says. Okay, so there is somewhere something called as Jnana Raksha. Upanishad admits it. But for us, we somehow are not able to bring that what knowledge and knowledge should be protected. Upanishad says. The second example that it gives is that of a girl, of a mother, of a pregnant mother. Just as a pregnant mother takes care of the fetus that is growing, of the embryo that is growing in the womb, she becomes extra alert with what food she should take or how she should stay, sleep, eat, walk. Over there, in her every action, she becomes aware and takes care not only of her body but of the baby that she is carrying in the womb. So now the seeker is told by the Upanishad that you take care of this knowledge. Don't let this, don't squander it away. Don't squander it away. Don't, because now that knowledge needs to be nurtured to the point that this knowledge becomes capable of destroying the ignorance. Till that point, you need to take care of this knowledge. So these are the two examples that are given. So now somewhere or the other we are aware, we know that Upanishad is advising the seeker to take care of the knowledge. So knowledge should be protected. But somehow, what is this knowledge to be protected? Just as there is Ghata Jnanam, there is Brahma Jnanam. If you know Ghata, now you don't need to protect. Oh, this Ghata Jnanam needs to be protected. How are you going to cover this disparity? The तफावत दिखती है ना. उपनिषदों ने तो बता दिया. The Upanishad has said something, but somehow there seems to be a link which is missing between what you have understood and what the Upanishad says. Establishing this link is what clears your path. So here he says, apekshate uchyate. Now this, we have heard your question. We understand what you are asking. Uchyate, it is replied. Chitta vishrantya bhave samshaya viparyayo prasajye jeyatam. तथा ही तत्वविदो राघवस्य विश्रांतेः पूर्वं संशयं विश्वामित्र उदाचहार. Now he is not simply going to say something, but it needs to be supported by pramanam. Because you can say something, it can be your whim and fancy, but it needs to come from pramanam. Only then it becomes acceptable. So Vasishtha Ramayana, Yoga Vasishtha, is a pramana grantha for Brahmajnanam. Over there he says, Raghava, Bhagavan Ramachandra, the knowledge has taken place. Okay, knowledge has taken place. Who is the instructor? Vasishtha Rishi is the instructor. Guru, Rama's Guru. By listening to the teacher, now Raghava knows that Atma is Brahman. Done. But one thing has happened, and that is the mind still has not given up its habitual pattern of staying disturbed. Knowledge can take place, but your mind can खुराफती है, छोड़ेगा नहीं. तुम लोग कहते हो ना, बंदर है तो गुलाटी खाना भूलता नहीं है. If it is the monkey does not forget how to jump. If monkey forgets how to jump, monkey will become a human being, will hold your child's hand and go to the school with your son. Then here he says, Vishrantya bhave, chitta vishrantya bhave, because that mind has not come to Vishranti, come to rest. Chitta vishrantya bhave, samshaya and viparyayo prasajyeyatam. Both the samshaya, the doubt, and viparyaya, the contradictory feeling, is bound to come. Why? Not because he is under ignorance, but because of chitta vishranti abhava. And this is the reason why we have the Yoga Vasishtha and also Jivanmukti Viveka, these great teachers are saying there is a great need for Samadhi Abhyas. Because what does the Samadhi do? What is the Samadhi? Where the mind comes to rest. Vishranti. Rest means not, relaxation of mind is called as Dhyana Abhyas. No. Where the Chitta Vritti comes to a halt. Where the Chitta Vritti comes to an halt. But now, though knowledge may take place in someone, yet if his mind somehow keeps on wandering, that is why even the greatest of great teachers, even like people like Vivekananda also, at the end of it, they said, enough of it. Enough. Now we want to withdraw. We want to withdraw. Now, why do they? Now, he is the one who is advocating the philosophy of action and how important action. And why, sir, you yourself want to withdraw now? Because chitta vishranti, even after the knowledge, is required. If the chitta does not come to vishranti, if it doesn't come to rest, what will happen? Samshaya and viparyaya will once again come into the picture. Okay? And therefore, he gives two examples. One is that of Raghava means Sri Rama. And another one is of Shukadeva. Now, if that can happen to Shukadeva and Rama, what are you and me? Oh, we don't meditation, we only knowledge, not done, we will be done. No. If that can happen to Shuka and Raghava, you are going to be the first victim. That is the reason why. So now there is some little passage where Rama's samshaya is brought and clarified. In case of Shukadeva, he says, Shukastu swayameva adau tattvam viditva. Now Shuka, he himself the knowledge has dawned on him because Vyasa Bhagavan instructed him, and now this knowledge is aparoksha. Directly he knows Atma is Brahman. He knows what is the nature of this I. For just as you and me, we are so confident this I means I am a man, I am a woman, I am good, I am bad. The meaning of this I is Brahman Purna. I know. Now here he says, Shukastu. So this knowledge has already taken in Shuka. Yet what happens? Tattvam viditva tatra samshayanaha pitaram prishtva. He still finds that Atma. Is this what I really am? Is this what I really am? And so his mind is now, rolling with samshaya. In spite of knowing it may happen. And therefore, samshayanaha pitaram prishtva. He goes to his father again. His father also tells him, no, Atma is Brahman. This is what is the nature of the self. This is what is the meaning of word I. Brahman. Pitrapi tathaiva anushishtaha. Even he is instructed by the father. Tatrapi samshayanaha. In spite of that, he once again is in doubt. My father may be saying, my experience, yet somehow is my experience valid or not? Or is this some sort of a fancy? Or is this some sort of my fancy? Thus, there is samshayanaha. So his father now tells him, go to Janaka. Janaka the king. There he goes to Janaka and he says, I have known my father has said the same thing, and yet again and again, I am cast into this terrible doubt what to do. And Janaka removes his doubt, but he tells him one more thing, and that is your chitta needs to rest. And therefore, if you have samadhi abhyasa even before the knowledge takes place, very good. And if you have samadhi abhyasa after the knowledge takes place, now samshaya and viparyaya will not enter from anywhere. They are not going to find a small little gap from where crevice from where it can creep in. Okay. Tasmad vidita tatvepi. Therefore, now, in spite of knowing the tattvam, Vishranti rahitasya Shuka Raghavayoriva Samshayaha Utpadyate. Now we have seen that Samshaya and Viparyaya have taken place in case of Raghava and Shuka. Why? Because not that it is because of ignorance, it is because of Vishranti Abhava. Vishranti Abhava, Chitta Vishranti Abhava. And so he says, Utpadyate, Sacha Jnanam eva mokshasya pratibandhakaha. Now this samshaya is something that can become a pratibandhak, an obstacle to the liberation, just as ignorance is. Just as ignorance is. And therefore Shri Krishna has said, remove this samshaya. What is the nature of this samshaya? Mahapapma. He is the Mahapapi in your life. Because if this samshaya remains, he gives you an example, Vidyaranya Swami, how this samshaya can create a havoc. A person now, with little spirituality, when he goes to enjoy in the world outside, suddenly his spirituality comes. Should I be doing this? And when he goes to do spirituality, then again that samshaya comes. Other people are enjoying. What am I doing here? Everybody else is enjoying, and what am I? So now that samshaya does not allow him even to walk the path of world or even the path of spirituality. Thus, this samshaya is something that is terrible, and therefore mumukshuna sarvatha samshaya chetavyaha. And it becomes obligatory for the mumukshu, for a seeker, to remove this samshaya. Mananam is the way to remove the samshaya. But even after the knowledge has taken place, the way is not now mananam, it is chitta vishranti. That chitta vishranti means samadhi. That's why some people who are opposed to the idea that no, samadhi and all this is not required, we are, people like Vidyaranya Swami is very clear where he says, or even Yoga Vasishtha is very clear that samadhi is required. And therefore, Jivanmukti has Jnana Raksha as its own purpose. This is the first purpose. And he now gives you this a little more discourse on this chitta vishranti. Now look at this. Vishranta chittasya manonashena yada jagadeva praviliyante tada samshaya viparyayoho kaprasangaha. There is what do they call as kaimutika nyaya. What to talk about is Samshaya Viparyaya. Through Manonasha, through the Samadhi Abhyasa, what happens? The whole world only is dissolved. The entire world itself is dissolved. There is no nothing. And don't be scared that how to dissolve the world. You do it every night. Kaha hai kon? When you enter into the state of deep sleep, where is what? Oh, my family, my business, my money, my name, my fame. No, nothing. Even the ego is not available. And that's why you dissolve it every day, every night. Now, this, not sleep, but like sleep, there is samadhi where the world is dissolved, but you are present. So the consciousness remains shining over there. Over there, Vishranta Chittasya Manonashena Yada Jagadeva Praviliyante. When through the samadhi abhyas, the entire world itself is dissolved. What to talk about these small little mosquitoes called as Samshayan Viparyaya. Kah prasangaha. Jagat pratibhasa rahitasya brahmavido deha vyaparopi vinayva swayam prayatnam parmeshwara preritena pranavayuna nishpadyate. Now there is somebody who is going to say that, say suppose if this knowledge takes place and his chitta is also vishranta, now what? That person will die or what? He says, no. Though he himself is not seeing this world, the duality. The jnani himself is not seeing any duality, multiplicity. The world is not seen by him. Yet his body-mind complex continues to do the vyavahara, the transaction. How, sir? Over there, he gives, it says, the pranas which are there, and the pranas will continue to remain in your body as long as the prarabdha is there. Once the prarabdha finishes, the vayu will leave. But it will continue to be there. You will continue to inhale and exhale. Till what time? Till the prarabdha is there. Now this prana, which is moving in and out, Ishvara preritena, it is not your prerana. It is not because you want to, I want to breathe, I want to exhale, I want to inhale. No. तुम्हारी मर्जी इसमें कुछ नहीं चलती है. ईश्वर प्रेरितेन प्राणवायुना निष्पाद्यते. सारा व्यवहार निष्पन्न हो जाता है. How, sir? Like the well-trained oxen. The pair of oxen, bulls, is yoked to the cart. And the farmer trains these oxes to pull the cart from his agricultural land to his home every morning, every evening. This is how he continues to walk. Say suppose one evening the farmer is tired and goes to sleep. What will these oxes do? They will continue to walk and take the cart home. Why? Because they are trained for that. Like that, this pranavayu will do all the actions. So, in case of the jnani, there is no kartrutvam at all required for actions to take place. Oh, nahi kartrutva hoga. No, nothing is required. And so he gives you one Uddharanam from Bhagavatam. Over there it is said, Deham vinashwaram avasthitam utthitam va siddho na pashyati yato adhyagamat swarupam daivad upetamatha daiva vashadapetam vaso yatha parikritam madira madandha. Just as a person who is intoxicated, he does not know whether the cloth is there on his body or it has fallen down. The intoxicated person does not know whether that cloth is there on his shoulder or it has fallen down. Like that, he who has awakened himself to that supreme truth, For him, it does not matter whether their body is there, functioning, or has fallen down and is dead. In Marathi they say, Brahmanandi lagali tari kona dehate sambhari. Who is going to be bothered about this? Whether this body remains or it withers away, falls down. He who has attained that. So, like that, over here it says the body can, whether the body remains or not remains, it does not matter. So, he is awakened. Siddho na pashyati. Now you are saying the one who is thus accomplished, that siddha, is accomplished, and he does not see the body or the world. And at the same time, in the second line of that shloka, you are saying that he continues to act in this world. How could these two be two things which are contradictory? You are going to resolve this contradiction. How are you going to make it sit together like a jigsaw puzzle? To this, because it is contradicting each other. Over here it is then said, ha iti paraspara virodha. Iti chet, if you see this virodha, that he does not see the duality and continues to act in this world. If you're seeing this kind of a contradiction, then he says, uchyate vishranti taratamyena vyavastha upapattehe. Now we pay attention to this because it is very important. Vishranti taratamyena. Now, whether you are going to see this world or not going to see this world after the knowledge takes place is dependent on how much your mind has come to rest. Vishranti Taratamya. Taratama pratyayas are there, the degrees of comparison. If your mind has come to rest, and it has come to rest even more, then depending upon this Taratama pratyayas, the world will come. You will see the world or not see the world, is what is said. And therefore, keeping this in mind, Tadeva Taratamyam Abhipretya Shruyate. This is what is kept in the focus by the Upanishad, and it is said, Atma Krida Atmaratihi Kriyavanesha Brahmavidam Varishtaham Tatra Chatvaraha Pratiyante. When you are going to say Brahmavid Varishtaha, Varishtha. Now that Varishtha means supreme most. That means that you already are assuming that there are other pratyayas. When you are saying this is best, what do you mean to say? There must be something which is better, and then there is something general. So you have a positive, comparative, and superlative degree. Correct? So the moment you have said he is the best amongst the Brahmajnanis, then you will ask, then who is the one who is on number 2? Who is there on number 3? We are going to say there are 4. Why you are just asking 3? There are 4. What are those? Brahmavid Prathamaha, Brahmavid Vara Dvitiyaha, Brahmavid Variyan Tritiyaha, Brahmavid Varishtash Chaturthaha. It means that the first one, he who has awakened to this knowledge, is Brahmavid. The one who has come, Brahmavidvara, is better than the Brahmavid. For him, now he enters into the Samadhi, and his Samadhi also comes down. So he's woken up from the Samadhi by himself. The second one is thus Brahmavidvara. The Brahmavidvariyan is the one who enters into the state of Samadhi, but he has to be woken up by somebody else. He doesn't wake up from the samadhi unless and until he is shaken by somebody. One of the teachers that whom I have a great reverence was Swami Abhishek Maharaj of Vrindavan. If Maharaj would be sitting and nobody is talking, Maharaj would simply sit. And at times, even the flies would enter into his nose or mouth, but Maharaj is simply sitting. Then there used to be his attendants. One of the attendants was my neighbor in Vrindavan. So he used to shake my Maharaj ji, हाँ बाबू भाई, क्या चाहिए? He would thus wake up. So this is the third one who enters into the state of samadhi but has to be woken up. The first one is he who knows Atma is Brahman, duality is Mithya. He is Brahmavid. Who is Brahmavidvara? Who knows and also his chitta is at rest. But he enters into the state of samadhi and he wakes up by himself. The third one is someone who now knows Atma is Brahman, duality is Mithya, and he enters into the state of samadhi where the world is also, that Mithya world is also not seen. But he has to be brought back to the body consciousness. Brahmavid Variyan. And the fourth one is Brahmavid Varishta, where he enters and he cannot be even brought out. He remains all the time thus in the state of absolute absorption. And therefore, keeping in mind these four states of absorption, now it is said, he who thus knows and is all the time absorbed is called as Brahmavid Varishtaha. And in his case, the body may continue and still he is not seeing the duality. This is possible in case of Brahmavid Varishtaha. चलेगी, देह व्यवहार करेगा, व्यापार करेगा, परंतु he does not see the duality at all. And therefore, chitta vishranti is required, and this chitta vishranti means where there is this samadhi abhyas. Because of this chitta vishranti, now samshaya and viparyaya do not find any occasion to seek an entry. Thus this happens. And that means that the knowledge remains unshaken, remains safe, remains protected. And therefore, the first prayojanam is called jnana raksha. Now there is a little detailed discussion over the states of rising states of absorption over here. And then if you ever happen to study Jivanmukti Viveka, you should then see this. The second one is called as tapassiddhi. This tapassiddhi means that those yogis, there are the 7 stages of evolution. The first stage is called as Shubhecha, where a person now aspires, and this aspiration is not a fancy. He is committed. He aspires that may I know Paramatma and become free. May I see Parameshwara and become free. Generally, what is the object of your desire? May I get a car? May I get a woman? May I get more popularity, so on and so forth. But now this person says, may I. So what is the object of his desire? Paramatma. And therefore, desire by itself is inauspicious. Desire, तुम्हारे पास अगर, if you have a desire, that desire will definitely make you cry. कोई भी वासना हो, इच्छा हो, वो तुम्हें रुला के ही रहेगी. लेकिन now there is this desire, but this desire, and that's why desire is called as inauspicious. But this desire is called as Shubha. Why? Because there is this desire. What is the object? Paramatma is the object. This is called as Shubha. Moksham me bhuyati Shubha. The second bhumika, after this takes place, the second rung of ladder is Vicharana, which means now that person goes about seeking satsang. He will go and meet saints and sages. He himself will try to inquire Vicharana. The third one is called as Tanumanasa. Tanumanasa means now his scattered mind, which is scattered in various objects, now is gathered and directed only in towards Paramatma. Now that's why, that mind, because it is no longer spread, it is no longer in all tentacles everywhere, that mind is singular. And this mind therefore appears like a single ray of light. Tanu, it has become as if thinned. This is this third stage. Even in Vicharana, this has not happened. But when this starts happening, when your mind no longer goes into anything else, but remains focused on Paramatma, it is called as the stage of Tanumanasa. In the fourth stage, the knowledge takes place. Atma is Brahman. This Parameshwara whom I am seeking is this Atma. Knowledge has taken place. Then in the fifth stage, after the knowledge has taken place, the body continues to be there in the world. Now this is all where after the knowledge has taken place. So the fifth, sixth, and seventh are the bhumikas where the knowledge has taken place, but it has got a gradually rising degree of absorption. It has got gradual rising degree of absorption. So in the fifth stage, the samadhi takes place. But how is this? It comes down by itself. So he comes out of the samadhi by himself. Then there is the sixth stage where the samadhi takes place, but he has to be brought to this by somebody else. And then there is the Varishtha, where he has entered, but no, like Dattatreya and all. This is the stage where Dattatreya is, where the body is there. It may be roaming around, but for him, he does not see the duality anywhere. And thus, this is what happens. Okay. So, now we are going to talk about tapassiddhi. So, what happens if a person in his first three stages before the knowledge takes place, if he dies before the knowledge takes place, if he dies before the knowledge takes place, which means liberation is not going to take place. Now, what would happen to him? Such a person who is committed but was not able to reach the stage of knowledge, and his body finishes its limit and it dies. What happens to such a person? This person is called as Yoga Bhrashta. Yoga Bhrashta is not a person who has fallen from grace. Remember this. Otherwise, you think Yoga Bhrashta means पहले तो ये अच्छे थे और अब तो ये बिगड़ गए, शराब पीने लग गए. That is not called as Yoga Bhrashta. Yoga Bhrashta means a person who committedly was walking on the path of spirituality, on path of Paramatma, on path of liberation, but he could not attain it before the body passed away. You see, this is called as Yoga Bhrashta. Now, Bhagavan Shri Krishna and even the Yoga Vasishtha Ramayana says that those people who thus are not able to attain the knowledge, what happens to them is they attain Punya Loka, they become the Devatas. They become Devatas. Because in Punya Loka, you cannot be just, anybody ordinary citizen. You have to be a Devata only over there. And in those Punya Lokas, they remain as Devatas. And then they come back to this world, not as any ordinary human beings, but they come back with all the force that is required to walk the path now. Okay? शुचीनाम श्रीमताम गेहे योग भ्रष्टो विजायते. ये तो पहले निकले थे, and then he started. Then he died. He does not come into Shuchinam, he will go into Naraka. But a Yoga Bhrashta comes into that Shuchinam Srimatam Gehe. Okay? Which means that he becomes a Devata. Now, what is the cause of attaining this Devatva? It is said it is Tapa. Now, what is the cause of him attaining the Devatvam? Tapa. But it is not Tapa that he is seen, fasting and doing some austerities. What was he doing? Pursuing knowledge. Now, therefore, those who have started walking on this path becomes Tapa. And this Tapa can take you to Swargaloka. If those stages in which even before the knowledge takes place becomes such a great Tapa, what to talk about these stages which are after the knowledge? But now this person who has attained the knowledge, now for him there is no Kartrutvam and Bhoktrutvam. Then where will this Tapaphala go? Where will this fruit of that Tapa go? Because any fruit of action comes to the Bhokta, but the Bhoktrutvam over here has gone away. So where will it go? And it is said it goes to three types of people. Now, people who are in contact with such a great yogi, such a great person, to him the fruit of all that tapa goes. What are those three types of people? So they say the first one, okay, the first one is the people who have come to him with single desire, and that is desire for Paramatma. No other desire, nothing they want. They want nothing, but they want only Paramatma. Now, to those people, his tapa becomes the cause of knowledge to take place in him. His words then are loaded with that power. That's why it is just not simply bola. Otherwise, you people are also listening that Atma is Brahman, Atma is Brahman. I am talking for the last 20 years. What has happened? Yeah? But when he speaks, now that word is, those words are loaded with power. So in case of a Shishya, it becomes the cause of knowledge for that person. So the first type of person who comes to such a Mahatma is a Shishya. Then there is a second type of a person. He is called as Bhakta. He says, hey, this is a great person. We just know he is a great person. But, Atma is Brahman and all that we cannot understand. Then what will we do? We will serve him. Because we love him. There is something about him which is wonderful. We don't understand when he says Atma is Brahman, Atma is Brahman. But what do we like about him is that there is a sparkle. There is something about him which keeps us, attached to him. So they start serving him. And these are people called as the bhaktas, the devotees. Now, those devotees who serve such a Mahatma, and obviously they also have some desires in the mind. Now, when they serve this Mahatma with a desire in the mind, those desires also get fulfilled. Those desires get fulfilled as a result because of his power of tapa. This is tapasiddhi. The third type of people who are there are called as tatastha people. Means now this person is not, he is not a shishya. He is not even a bhakta, a devotee, but he is somebody who is observing him from a distance. Tatastha. He says that this man is a great man, but he is not going over there, so that he can serve him or, be of any use to him or anything like that. He sees, but just by looking at him, he is inspired to live a life, a noble life. He is inspired to live a noble life. Even today, when you look at the life of saints, Jnaneshwar, Tukaram, Samartha Ramdas, and all that, you also feel that, we also should live a good life. Tatastha. Not that you are loyal to Samartha Ramdas, but by just looking at him, you feel, oh, this is something great. We should also live like that. Tatastha, he is inspired. There is yet another Tatastha who is a Nastika, who doesn't believe, who doesn't accept anything. Now it is said about him, and that is that even such a person who is totally Tatastha Nastika, if he falls in the range of his vision, of the Jnani's vision, even his papas start burning away. This is the reason why you are told since childhood that if there is a Mahatma, जाके नमस्कार तो करो. उसके सामने जाकर के कम से कम नमस्कार. You go and offer your salutations. Why? Whether you believe, not believe, just coming in his vision also is good enough to bring goodness to you, blessing to you. So even such a person who is not at all of any, whether he is not a devotee, he is not a shishya, he is not even an astika, he is nastika. Even when such a person comes in his, range, in his orbit, his papas are also, they start diminishing. And therefore, this is what is called as tapasiddhi. This is what happens as a result of that Jivanmukti. Tapasiddhi is the second prayojanam. The third prayojanam is called as Visamvada Abhava. Visamvada means some sort of a conflict. Now you can be in conflict because of your Siddhanta, whatever understanding that you may have, or it could be, it is not an intellectual conflict for some principles, but laukika. It is for laukika. Why are you sitting in my place? This is not some great principle for which you are fighting. वो वहां बैठा है आज, तुम यहां बैठो ना. You after all, but no, he's sitting in my place. This is my chair. This is laukika. Now, for what are you fighting? It is said, this form of censuring, or even this krodha, anger, has left his psychology long ago. His psychology of a jnani, is absolutely free from anger, frustration, irritation, and complaints. Our psychology is predominantly just that much. Only complaints, your anger, you are irritated. Because of my wife, my whole life was wasted. You're still angry. 25 years now, you're married enough. Another 25, you still have to live together. His psychology is absolutely free from, and that's why Laukika conflict is not there related to this world. Siddhantic conflict is also not there, because now he says, keep on saying whatever you want to say. I have seen the truth. I need not convince you. By convincing you, I'm not going to convince myself. For us, truth means that, unless and until I convert you, I convince you, then only I will start believing. This is the conversion religion. All these religions are there converting because of this. Then they say that so many people have started believing. That means what I believe must be also right. So ultimately, they are converting so many people only to convince themselves. Only for a self-approval they are doing it. So that's why there in this conversion business, there is nothing else. It is just useless business. So he who has now known Atma is Brahman, he says that you keep on saying whatever you want. I have seen the truth, and then yad gatvana nivartante tadhama paramam mama. And therefore for him there is no conflict because of any worldly reasons or because of any scriptural reasons also. Visamvada bhavaha. And then finally, what is then? Dukkhanasha. Dukkhanasha means that, there is no dukkha because of any worldly reasons or any other worldly reasons. In this particular chapter, Vidyaranya Swami says, if you people want to see this more in detail, then go and see the work called as Panchadashi that I have written. And Vistara Bhayat, I am not going to tell you over here how that Dukkhanasha takes place. So Sukhavir Bhava is the fifth Prayojanam, where he says, Sukhavir Bhava Stretha, the three types of expression of his joy are there. His joy expresses in three ways. What is that? Sarva Kama Vaptihi. For him, he discovers that his every desire is fulfilled. There is no desire which is left unfulfilled for which he can have any complaint or any frustration. Is complete. So it is how Sarva Kama Vaptihi. Then the second thing is Kritakrityatvam. He discovers whatever has to be done is already done. There is not something which is left. You and me, we go to sleep thinking that, today this was not done. Tomorrow I will do this. Kuch na kuch, with a sense of incompleteness, we go to sleep. With a sense of income, he says that whatever it is done. Even if my eyes are not going to open tomorrow morning, it's okay. It's okay. Kuch parishesha nahi hai. Kuch, there is nothing that is left. Purna, samadhan. It's okay. I'm ready. Kritakritya. And then prapta vyatvam. Whatever has to be attained is already attained. These are the three expressions of his Sukha Avirbhava. Avirbhava means expression, an expression of joy. How does his joy express? Because in the Vyavahara, this joy has to express. And over there, Sarva Kama Vaptis Tredha. Again, that attainment of all, fulfillment of all the desire is threefold. What is it? Sarvasakshitvam. It comes as Sarvasakshitvam. Sarvatra Akamaha Tattvam. Hey, he is not wounded by any desire. His heart is not wounded by any desire. And Sarva Bhoktritvam. He is told, somebody tells him, sir, we should go over there to Swarga. He says, in the Swarga, I'm only the Indra who's sitting over there. Where will I go? Just to end this particular topic, I will tell you one incident which took place in Swami Akhananji Maharaj, somebody asked Maharajji, that Maharajji, have you seen Kashmir? Maharajji said, oh, why are you asking? He says, because Kashmir is very beautiful. Maharajji said, I have seen that against which all these beauties are faded beauties. हमने तो वो चीज देखी है कि जिसके सामने ये सारा फीका पड़ता है. ये परमात्मा दर्शन है. नाउ नथिंग इज एवर गोइंग टू वुन. कुछ कमी हो गई, कुछ रह गया, देयर इज नो कंप्लेन, नो नथिंग. पूर्ण तृप्त. एंड देयरफॉर these are the 5 प्रयोजनास ऑफ जीवन मुक्ति. ज्ञान रक्षा, तपस्सिद्धि, विसंवादा भाव, दुख नाश, and sukhavir bhava. This is the gist of this particular chapter that I thought I will bring to you people, and all of you have listened to it. I'm very much thankful, not only to the audience, but mainly to these two people, Vaniji and Vasudevji, who have organized this particular session. Thank you very much.